let's take a look at Lesson 9, Land of the Links. And what I've done, and I'm going to ask you to do as well, is I've created a new Thimble document and called it Lesson 9 My List. I have put a heading that says Miss Skinner's Lists on it and just a little paragraph introducing the page. Then another heading with an unordered list, so a bulleted list. I'm going to put some ideas of some things people can get me for Christmas on here. So I've gone and found some examples to represent these things. I'm going to use them in the list. But so my first one, let's say I want a nice big television, 55-inch television. And I want to have a trip to the beach. And let's say a new laptop. So once you have these in here, we can turn these into hyperlinks. And hyperlinks, of course, are things that take you to other places on the internet or other places that are in your folder. So if you have a folder, you can link to something that's in your folder. So, or even just in here, I can put something in here. So for instance, if I have this picture here of a money bag, I can save this image. So I'll save this picture as money. I'll just pop it on my desktop for the moment so I can drag it in. And then I will drag this into my folder. So now it's in here. I got my money my money PNG. And I could link straight to that. So let's just say cash on this last one. All right, so this first one I'm going to link to the Amazon website. So one of the kind of big rules about a hyperlink is that if it's not your page, so this is my page, I guess you would say. If it's not my page, then it needs to open in a new tab. It needs to open up outside of my website. So on here, I'm going to put in my hyperlink tag, which is an A. So an A tag stands for anchor, and that's how you create a hyperlink. It's an anchor tag. Now the anchor tag has two attributes we should always use and a third attribute we might use. The absolute must use attribute is href. That stands for hyperlink reference, and that is where's it going to go to. So if I'm going to this Amazon page, then I'm going to take the big long internet address up here on Amazon and copy it, and then Control V and paste that big long address in here between those quotation marks. That's going to give me, oh, I put it around Christmas ideas. My bad. Hold on. Let's fix that. I got excited. Here we go. Okay. So ahref equals, and then in my quotation marks, we're going to put that link. Now, you have to close it after the clickable words. So this can't go here or there'd be nothing to click on. See, there's nothing to click on. So I'm going to cut that. That goes down here at the end of the item so that the words between the A and the turning off of the A are our clickable words. Okay, so if I click on this, if I click here and I click 55-inch television, it's going to open up. Now, on Thimble, it's going to open in a new tab anyway, but it would not do that on the actual internet, like if you uploaded your website to an actual web server. So the thing that we would use to do that is called target, and blank means to open a blank window. Notice it's underscore blank. So to open in a new window, underscore blank. And then a lot of times people will put, and I suggest you put it, a title. You should already know that's the words that pop up when you point to the link. So see it on Amazon makes sense for this one, so that when you point to it, it will say see it on Amazon, so that you know when you're clicking on it, that's where it's going to take you. All right, so that gives me my first link. Trip to the beach. So let's say I've got a nice beach meme that I want here. I'll click here to get to this image, and I'm going to open the image so it's in its own tab. So open my image in a new tab. That takes me straight to the JPEG. Now instead of putting it in my folder, I'm just going to copy this, and we're going to link straight to the picture. So here, my trip to the beach. Again, it's an A tag. That's an anchor tag. The ending will go here at the end. And then our parts are going to be hyperlink reference, ahref, target, that's to open in a new window, and title, which is going to be the pop-up words. So I'll put check out this meme for the title one, so that will pop up. For target, underscore blank, because I want it to open in a new window. And for href, I would just paste in the address of that picture. Now I've got to move my A tag, my anchor tag, closing tag to after my words so that they'll be clickable. And there it is. When I click on it, it takes us straight here to the page. Okay, so that's that one. Now let's say I wanted to go to this money PNG that's in my folder. In this case, it's going to be the same, href and my title. But since it's in my folder, I have no need for the target because it's going to just open up in my page. Again, in Thimble, they all open in new tabs, but on the actual internet, if we were to upload something, it would not. So here, I would just put in the name of my file, money.png. If my picture was in a folder, I would put the folder name and then a slash and then money.png. It's not in this case, though, so money.png it is. Put it in there, put my title, check out the cache. There we go. And now if I come down here, point to cache, it says check out the cache. If I click on it, it takes me straight to the image file. And again, this acts a little bit weird because I'm in the editor. But if I was, if I published it, if I go ahead and gave it a publish and I gave it another page, it should, well, you know how this is sometimes. There we go. When it opens up in here, now if I click on it, it just goes straight to the picture. See, like that. And notice it did not open in a new tab. I have a back button. But if I click on this one, it opens Amazon in a new tab. So you can't really tell that these are working right until you publish them. But that's essentially what's happening there. So those are kind of your main parts for that. So href, title, and if it's going to go to a page that's not in your site, target. And that's going to be equals underscore blank. Now let's go look at this in the CSS page. To style that, as we already know, it would be an A. So let's say I wanted to make the color, you know, red, they would all turn red. Now, I'm going to comment that out for just a minute. And what you should notice is, oops, put that in here. What you should notice is that these are purple and this one is blue. In this screen, I never clicked on this one. Purple is the color for visited hyperlinks, and blue is the color for just normal links. So they haven't been clicked on. So if you've clicked and visited to the page, it's purple. Well, that looks pretty bad, I think, on a website for them to turn different colors. So usually, and I'll take this comment off now, usually you're going to set them to either be the same, like this, or you can set it to where different states have different colors. So for instance, right now, I have all my A's that, but if I just wanted to make it so that the links and the visited links, and these are separated by commas, just like if we were going to put other. Visited links are called visited here. So those would be red. And then lower in the cascade, and this has to be below, okay? Lower in the cascade, I can do a hover. Now this is weird because these are called pseudo classes. They have colons built in. So really weird, but that's what they're called, pseudo classes. And they're link, visited, and hover. So the link and visited you would set to the same color. And then if you want it to look different when you point your mouse to it, you set the hover status to whatever you want. And you could change the color, but you could do other stuff too. You could like make the background color turn, you know, pink. You could make the font weight bold. You could make the font style italic. Like you could do whatever you want here, and then when you point to them, they would change. Almost kind of like little buttons. So that's kind of handy, right? And you could even make it so that your initial buttons, you know, we've talked about this before, we could set our text decoration to none, and there would be, you know, no underline. We could set a background color to black and a color of the words to, you know, white or whatever instead of that red, and make them look a little more like, you know, bullets even. We could set a border, you know, 2-pixel red solid border around these, and then they really do start to look a lot more like buttons. You know, so you can do lots of different stuff, and you can style these however you want with all of the things that we've learned up to this point. But generally speaking, you're going to do your A link and A visited. These, again, are pseudo classes. You're going to do those first, and then down lower, you set your hover so that you can make it look different when you point your mouse to it. So that's pretty much the general list of how things work with hyperlinks. The only other thing, and I'm not going to get into it really in this little webcast, is that hyperlinks are either what we call absolute or relative. Absolute means they point to some specific place all the time. And an absolute hyperlink starts with HTTP or HTTPS. That basically means it's on the internet. So like if you want this to go to this website, don't leave this part off. You can't just put www. That doesn't work. You have to have this in here because it's an absolute reference. This tells the computer or the browser that it's on the internet and it needs to search the internet to get there. So that's what that's going to do. Never just www.whatever. This would be a relative reference. It doesn't have this HTTP, and a relative reference means that it's located relative to where this page is. So because these are all in the same folder, I don't need anything in front of this. If I created a folder, say called pics or whatever, and moved my money picture into the folder, if I can get it up there. Well, it won't let me. Let's see. We'll move it. All right. If I move it up into the folder, then now I have to update the link here. So now it's in the pics folder because it's relative to where the index page is. And when I'm on the index page, if I just put money.png, it thinks it's out here and not in a folder. So you have to put that folder in there. So they're relative links that are just pointed to something that's in your folder, and absolute links that are pointed outside of your site. This can get really confusing when you have actual HTML files that are buried in here. So like if I had an HTML page that was in this pics folder and I wanted to get back to the index page, that'd get really confusing. Let's do one. So if I say add a folder, I'm just going to call this pages, as if we were going to have some more pages in here. And then in this page folder, I'm just going to make a page and I'll call it hi. Oh, hold on. Must have clicked the wrong button to make my page. Oh, new file. Oh, well, no, it doesn't know what to do with it. Anyway, maybe I can't do this from within here. Maybe I have to make it on the other one first and then drag it in there. It's fine, I guess, whatever. HTML file is what I want. That's all right. So I'm going to move this into my pages folder. And again, I don't think it's going to let me click and drag in here. It didn't want to a minute ago. So I'll move it into my pages folder. All right, so now I have a page in my pages folder. It's called index 2. I'm going to rename it, call it hi, just because it's going to be easier to remember. And I'm just going to put the word hi on here. Hi and hi. Okay, now, if I wanted to go from the hi page back to the index page, so I would put ahref equals, say I said, you know, I'm on hi and I want to go to index, so it's index.html. Go home, go to index. Okay, so I've got this on here. Now, if I wanted to, well, let's get this to update itself. Okay, there it is. So we've got this in here. Now notice that because this page got moved, it's not finding the style page. See, it's not got all the pretty things. My link isn't changed. And if I were to click to go to the index, it doesn't go anywhere. It's basically lost. And the reason is because I'm in the pages folder and I'm trying to go to the index and it's relative to pages. So it's looking in the pages folder where hi is to get to the index page. So to get out of a folder, you have to put ... / that goes up. Same thing with this style sheet on this one. ... / means look up one folder. We're in hi, which is in the pages folder. ... / says get up out of the pages folder and look in here. And so if we update it, here we go. Now our CSS is working. Now our index link is working. And now I can go to this page. So that got a little deep there. That got a little complicated. But just know if you start putting things in folders, you have to be very, very careful about whether they're relative or absolute and how to get to them. So now it's your turn. Good luck.